Alright, I've been gone for a while. I'm pretty sure y'all don't care what happened. This is gonna be another Exosister deck profile, but don't click away. Please don't, because this one is actually a little interesting. I've never seen someone do a deck profile of this strategy specifically. This is something on a whole other level that you really just need to know what all your cards do and their limits to understand how this deck functions. So this is a Exosister Vaalmonica Fiendsmith deck. Pretty much, the reason Exosister doesn't really get paired with a lot of strategies is because Martha and Returnia just make the deck very xenophobic, as well as with the fact that all the extra deck Exosister Xyz monsters require an Exosister monster's material for their effects, or rather, for one of their two effects. All of the Xyz monsters are above average, for rank 4s anyway, but honestly, Exosister on its own right now is not doing very good. And the new Hime card, that just adds more consistency to the deck, but if we're being legit honest, Exosister just needs the right extenders for it to be good. So I decided that I'm just not going to play Pura for a while. Until the new support releases, I'm just going to be playing this variant, which is my favorite variant, the one that I created. Anyway, I'm done yapping. Let's just get straight into the deck. This is a 43 card list, so bear with me. For the Exosister portion, we are just playing 3 copies of Martha, 3 copies of Elise, and 3 copies of Pax. And then to round off the engine, we are just playing 2 Carpe Diem and 1 Vadis. So Martha, she pretty much can get 2 level 4s out on the field with her and Ellis. But this is where Martha's flaws come into play, because she locks you into Exosister monsters for the entire turn. You can only control Xyz monsters or no monsters at all for her effect, and you cannot special summon anything besides Exosisters the turn you activate her effect. So, yeah, Martha's effect is very restrictive. If Exosister is probably ever going to be good, like, it needs the right extenders. That way you can fully commit to the Exosister portion of an Exosister deck and not just lose outright to a single hand trap. Think like Ash Blossom or Nibiru. Which, speaking of Nibiru, that's why we play 2 Carpe Diem. Because pretty much this is Prohibition, but searchable. It's also a spell and trap pop, or just a back row pop. And also, neither player can target Exosister monsters that you control with effects of monsters that were special summoned from the graveyard. So that's just free protection right there. And Vadis can just get any 2 Exosister names on board. So that's why we play this over Returnia. Because we can just get 2 level 4 bodies on field, which can either go for an Exosister monster, a pair of Exosister monsters on our opponent's turn, or we could just make something for Fiendsmith. Which we do play Fiendsmith in this, if I haven't said that already. And Pax, I don't need to explain why we play this. This just searches all of this. So pretty much, yeah. This is the Exosister portion of the deck. I am not playing Stella because Stella requires another Exosister in hand to function. And Sophia is just an upstart goblin. So that's why I don't play Sophia either. We mainly just want to focus on Martha and Ellis. And speaking of Fiendsmith, my Fiendsmith engine is very small. I'm just playing 2 Engraver and 1 Lacrima. That is literally it. You don't need Tract, you don't need Lurie, you don't need Sanct, as long as you have Moon of the Closed Heaven or an Evil Swarm Exoton Knight, or rather if you just have anything that can get a Light Fiend on field that's not a Fiendsmith token or Lurie in the sense, then you have full Fiendsmith combo. In fact, the reason I play Fiendsmith in this is because Fiendsmith actually works pretty good with the last engine in our deck, which is the biggest engine out of all of them, the Vaalmonica engine, which is just 3 Cellatrice, 3 Angelo, 3 Daimono, 3 of the field spell, 3 Shelta, 1 Invitar, 1 Versar, and 1 Followed Rhythm. So pretty much Vaalmonica is a pseudo-link pendulum strategy that really relies on 2-card combos, that being Cellatrice or the field spell plus a pendulum. Or rather, just Cellatrice and any way to get to one of your pendulums. So pretty much we play 6 Cellatrice and 9 of each pendulum, because the field spell can just search all of the monsters pretty much. Shelta, it's a consistency card, and it's also a key combo piece in the Vaalmonica combo, but it's trash as a starter. So yeah, Vaalmonica really needs a good 1-card starter, and Shelta is just not that. Invitar is a 1 of. I see in some Vaalmonica lists where it's a 3 of, but when you're playing not pure, I recommend playing 1 or 2, because this just isn't a starter, because it just locks you out of everything. Versar is a key combo piece that can send this to the grave for Zaburfa, which is pretty much the end of the Vaalmonica combo. And this, it's pretty much just a back row pop and a bounce for a monster. Also, Cellatrice on normal or pendulum summon can pretty much add a Vaalmonica. It can pretty much just add a Vaalmonica card from deck to hand. Angelo and Daimono both have the same hand effects where they can reveal themselves, discard a card, and then they scale themselves plus the other one. So that is honestly why we don't care for not having another scale in hand. As long as you have 1 and a card you're willing to discard, preferably Cellatrice, then you're golden. You have full Vaalmonica combo right there. I will be doing a combo video for this deck later, so I won't get any further in depth into the combos. So now all that's left for the deck is just the non-engine, which in my opinion is pretty standard. Though it's not standard in the sense that we don't play like 12 plus non-engine. Like, if we're being more accurate, I just play 10 non-engine. If we're just going to be accurate, pretty much our non-engine, it is just going to be 3 copies of Mulcharmy Fool Us. Pretty much this is just a more fair version of Maxi. You discard it when you control nothing, and you draw cards for every time your opponent special summons from the deck or extra deck. And at the end, you pretty much shuffle back cards at random equal to the number of cards your opponent controls plus 6. So no matter what, you get to keep 6 cards regardless. Pretty much this is a more fair Maxi because it's only useful going second, and it shuffles everything back during the end phase. So it's a lot more fair. I then play 3 Droll and Lockbird because this right now is one of the best hand traps in the format right now, which this should tell you that the format isn't good. A telltale sign of when a format is not good is when Droll Lockbird is meta. But alas, you need to play 3 Droll Lockbird. It's just out of the question. I then play 3 Ash Blossom because, well, I'm not playing Imperm, I'm not playing Veiler, and Ghost Bell, though it's great right now, it just feels a little too niche. And for the last piece of non-engine, I'm just playing Called by the Grave. Pretty much, that's it for my non-engine. I know it's a small amount of non-engine, but when you have a deck that is very tight for room, you kind of just have to settle with what you got. With that being said, let's go into the extra deck, and pretty much I'm just playing 1 Magnifica because in my experience playing Exo Val and Exo Val Fiendsmith, you don't make Magnifica a lot. Pretty much, you just don't summon enough Exosister rank 4s to get it out. Then, next, I just played 2 Macaulus, 1 Caspitel, and 1 Asophiel just for the Exosister Xyz monsters. This deck can OTK very well without Gibrine, so you can easily cut Gibrine. Magnifica, she's a soft once per turn banish. As well, she can attack twice, and she can tag out for any of these 4. Michaelis is just good, so he played at 2. I would play it at 3, but you don't have room for it at 3, so I just play 2. Caspitel and Asophiel, I play them as 1-ups for the same reason. They are part of a Vadis lock, where pretty much Caspitel stops summoning from the graveyard and Asophiel stops effects in the graveyard. So, yeah, pretty much these 2 are very, very good. Because they are just floodgates that you can drop you can pretty much drop them whenever your opponent plays. Then sticking with the floodgate route, I am playing Baguska. Because, like, if I don't want to combo into Oblivion, I can just make Baguska. Then I play Exciton Knight. I play this for a board wipe, and it's also able to bridge into Fiendsmith. I play it mostly to bridge into Fiendsmith. If you don't want the board wipe and you want to dodge Dimensional Barrier, you very well can play Moon. In fact, if you want to cut some cards down, like the second Zaburfa, you could play both Exciton Knight and Moon, that way you get the best of both worlds. Speaking of Zaburfa, I am playing 2, because there are instances where I do end up having boards where I want to make 2, but because I was only playing 1 originally, I couldn't do that. Pretty much, Zaburfa, she can copy a Vaalmonica, Spell or Trap Engrave, and pretty much you can use both effects of said spell and trap. Pretty much negating the entire life point gain / pay, and you also get the benefit of both effects, and you also get resonance counters on your Vaalmonica Pendulum monsters, which I will explain in further depth in the combo video. I'm then playing 1 Duraloom. Duraloom, you don't make her often because to make her you need a lot of luck. She pretty much is just an OTK. She's just 7,500 attack on a body because she can attack 3 times at the cost of removing 3 resonance counters off of your Vaalmonica Pendulums. I am then playing 1 SP Little Knight because SP is just good. And then for the rest of the extra deck, it is just full Desiree Turbo with Requiem, Sequentia, Agnum Day, and Desiree. I will demonstrate a Fiendsmith combo where I meld the entire strategy together. But yeah, that is pretty much just it for the extra deck. Yeah, it's not really, like, I think it's flexible if you want to cut stuff. You can cut SP, Duraloom, and the Zaburfa if you could probably cut the Zaburfa and the SP if you want to play Necroquip and Caesar, just for a Caesar package. But because I just don't have Caesar, so I don't go for the Caesar line at all. I just go for the Desiree line. Also, with Agnum Day, you can just make a big 5800 body that can't be targeted and can negate 5 cards. And for the side deck, I'm just starting off pretty standard. 3 Artifact Lancia, and 3 Cash-Tier Unicorn, and 1 Chaos Hunter, and 1 Cash-Tier Birth. Pretty much, this is just Malice hate. I do have more Malice hate in the form of Thrust and Sanctum as well. Pretty much Thrust and Sanctum get to Lancia. And Unicorn and Chaos Hunter are just free bodies that I can just make into Link monsters. And then playing 1 Dragon's Mind, because Michaelis is a 2500 body, Zaburfa is also 2500, Duraloom is also 2500. So you can play Dragon's Mind. You technically can. Also, Unicorn and Chaos Hunter are both 25s, so if you want to play just this Malice Hate and Dragon's Mind, you very well can do that. And then, this is probably an interesting take. I play 3 copies of a Floodgate called Soul Drain. Pretty much, this is Skill Drain, but for the graveyard in Banishment. Pretty much at the cost of 1,000 life points. What happens is, monsters that are in the graveyard, as well as monsters that are banished, cannot activate their effects. So yeah, this kills Malice, this kills Fiendsmith. This just straight up kills a lot. This is kind of a shifter replacement. However, I think this is more fair because this is only good going first, not to mention it has outs like Feather Duster, Cosmic Cyclone, and probably like in-engine removal. Desiree can also out this, so if you play Fiendsmith, you can technically out the Soul Drain with Desiree. This is really only good going first. However, I still think it's a pretty decent card to consider. Don't play it in everything. I just play it because Exosister can play under Soul Drain with absolute ease. They don't care about their graveyard. Literally, I think the only thing Exosister really cares about in their graveyard is just the names for packs. That is it. There is nothing else. Fiendsmith and Vaalmonica are affected by this because, of course, Fiendsmith special summons itself from grave by returning a Light Fiend. And, of course, your Fiendsmith links, they can equip themselves from the graveyard. And Celatrice, when she is sent to the graveyard, she returns herself back to the hand. So those decks are slightly affected by Soul Drain to a very insane degree, but it's not that bad for a going first option. That is pretty much going to be it for the deck profile. I will be covering combos in a later video. And I will be taking this deck the next time I go to locals. I have taken Exoval Fiendsmith to locals. and it didn't really go so well. In fact, I didn't even enjoy playing Exoval because it just felt like it was missing something. And here's what it was missing. It was missing my spice with Fiendsmith. That's what it was missing. Now that I've tested this a little bit, I gotta say, this deck feels a lot better when you play it with Fiendsmith. I'm just being honest. Now, you could stake me on a cross. You could burn me alive for saying that. I personally don't care. I like Fiendsmith. It's liberating to play. I don't care if it's too expensive. Why? Because I just cut the $80 spell card. You do not need it. If you can make Moon or Exton Knight, you can pretty much not get tracked in Lurie. And if you play something that just makes only Fiends, just play Sanct. Like, you don't need tracked. If I'm being for real. So, that's my rant about Fiendsmith and why I don't think people should be complaining about it. Like, when Engraver was expensive, I get it, but now that it's cheap, like, no, I just don't see any valid complaints. Now, I do get when people say it's just everything X Fiendsmith. I get that, and I mean, it is kind of annoying when everything is Fiendsmith, but trust me, when you play it, you will just forget your entire arguments altogether, if I'm being honest. So I will see you all later. I will be working on that combo video shortly. I will not be doing a spreadsheet. I will just be doing a video. Yeah, that's it, guys. Anyway, I will see you all soon in a combo video featuring this deck. I don't know if I'll do side patterns or not, but I definitely know I'm going to do combos. I will see you all later.